Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first. I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone.
DJ Sequence.
In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first two. I feel joy, I feel pain, I still the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first. I feel joy, I feel pain, I still the same. When the night is gone, I'll be alone.
Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? We are here. We are at the precipice of a 94k flippening. Yeah, I'm feeling good, mate. Good evening, Heavy Metal. Good evening, KJ or Material Monster. Your toes are moving. Devitio, lovely. Ofa, hello. Hello, Static Liquid. Let's go. And of course, Nelly. Yeah, market's been alright today. A bit of movement, which is nice. Really nice way to start the week. Yeah, we're nearly at that magical 94k number, which we'll come on to in a second. But first off, we'll shout out to Breakout Prop. If you want to trade using someone else's money, go buy an evaluation. Use code Charlie at checkout for a fat discount. I don't know how much it actually is. I should probably find that out. Oops. But yeah, you sweating or short? Nah, I don't sweat, mate. I don't give a fuck. I rage bait Twitter. I'm the greatest trader of all time. Never lost a trade in my life. Actually, technically, I will not lose that trade because my stop's actually in profit, so blow me. But yeah, if you want to treat yourselves to an evaluation and a trading account with someone else's money, then sign up using the code below. And yeah, this has been my kind of thought process for weeks. I've talked about reaching 94k, which is when things start getting interesting. And I've put that there, but it is literally as we break out of this, if we get that next leg of the market, everything's very interesting. And it's one of the reasons why I longed Fartcoin in the Paragon earlier, which we will kind of come on to and talk about, because if this is the start of the next leg of the market, then you know there's a lot of coins that look like this and should do that. If it's not, then we're just going to round trip, we're going to do this, we're going to come back to range lows, Question, do we take the lows and run up, or do we just take them and crash down? I don't know. I don't have a strong bias. Like, we are so oversold on the vast majority of altcoins, and they've been absolutely down only and annihilated since 1010. You know, this huge period here, you know, is it reaccumulation? Don't know. Is it just general risk off and just general market fatigue while stocks, silver, and other shiny rocks like gold, you know, go fucking parabolic? Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, we are currently in a altcoin long and still in a Bitcoin short. Can you talk about the grinding structure on Bitcoin? I thought it was broken on Tuesday. Yeah, good evening, GTA. But was the development over the weekend worth another shot? Or what, on BTC? What do you mean, brother? As in, how Bitcoin's price action changed it all over the weekend? I mean, I've had the same thought process for a little while in terms of, like, I'm still in this short, right? Just about, skin of my teeth. And I would play a breakout long up here. This doesn't look super strong. But, yeah, we'll try it on something like Fartcoin, which, if this ranges and then runs, Fartcoin should just run. Why are you still shorting Bitcoin? You'll make me cry. Well, it's just not hit my own validation yet, so it's a few $100 off it, which is pretty much like break even for me. So, yeah, we're getting good reps in on Pump too, most likely a runner. Yeah, Pump's done really well. Pump has been very, very strong in terms of rally from the sort of local low down here. It was on my radar this morning because I had this little run. Sorry, yesterday. And then it came on my radar this morning, and I missed it, to be honest. There's a lot of stuff on Twitter as well about how they're loading up a load of USDC to Kraken and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a bit mental. Was Dash on my radar? No, I just flicked to the big gainers of the day. Did the classic, what if I bought the Pico bottom of it? But some of the boomer coins are really flying. Like, you know, pretty nice in terms of return. But let's jump back to Bitcoin, right? You know, why do I short up here? Because it lost structure, because it failed with lower highs, and it was a really nice, safe position to be in for a little while. Yeah, not really the case anymore. Pretty much still kind of at these highs in terms of resistance around this 94k region. I do want to see a bit of acceleration. I do want to see it go. I do want to flip. So I might end up longing the top of the range and taking a dick on something probably closer to this now because of the way the price action has developed. So if I look at this, I think of this as like a little low time frame range that we've now broken out of. You know, that to me is like a nice invalidation. So if we come back into that range, like clearly my thesis of breakout and continuation back to kind of, you know, highs is just wrong, right? The rotation from like silver, gold into Bitcoin, etc., etc., it's just not happening. So yeah, that will be my stop loss there. 91.8-ish, or whatever that says. 91.5. 91.521. And the reason is that, to me, this consolidation here, that's where we built value, and coming back into that and retesting that is just not what you want to see in a strong trending environment. Simple as that. You would want to see this breakout and kind of continue that trend. I think a lot of people are looking at that 94 level, which is why everyone got super bullish up here and they got fucked. Yeah? Yeah, we can do ICB and link and stuff. Are shitcoins still worth shorting? Oh, in general? It's really difficult because I think that this is like for Fartcoin. I'll use Fartcoin as an example just because I'm long on it, right? And I'll like examine my own bias. So if we go down from like a weekly structure on Fartcoin and we go, okay, well, principally we had one strong run, which was up here when everything was going crazy. We've kind of done the McDonald's pattern and got, you know, slightly lower highs here. It's not unreasonable to think that the bouncing ball of altcoin momentum, does something like this, and we get a little pump. This pump here, by comparison, is little, even though it is a 61% move that I'm targeting, which is pretty fucking decent, right? By any trader standards. Do I really want to be shorting here? It's not a terrible place to be shorting in terms of this pivot, right? Which I did post on Twitter, and actually if we break out, then locally I think you're playing a range, right? So locally, like, the range looks like this. It is essentially this area here. Let me just mark it up a little bit better. It's kind of like this, yeah, and this is the deviation at the high of the range, and this is the range low, where we've had a wick down, and a couple of attempts to break down that have all failed, yeah? So you are at a range high. You have tried to break the resistance 1, 2, this is now the 3rd time. So if you were shorting something like this, it's not the worst trade, I don't think. But currently, unless I can't really. There's a bit of a div across these highs, but it's not substantial. And I don't really want to try shorting anything after a decent CPI print, Bitcoin on the cusp of hopefully breaking out. The sentiment around crypto is in the gutter, and that changes overnight. If we get literally $1,000 move on Bitcoin from 93.5 to 94.5, it changes the look of the market quite significantly. So if you want the short answer, it's I'm looking for longs. I don't really want to short here. Stuff like Filecoin. And hopefully that makes sense as to why. But, from a technical perspective, I can't really argue with the fact that it's in a range, and, maybe the kind of defensive short would look something like this, yeah? Which is pretty poor RR, unless you are really saying, nah, the market's going to leg down from here completely. And I've got no reason to think that, right? Bitcoin has held up. I kind of hoped that after that rejection at 94, we'd get the sell-off, we'd move off, and it would come down, but, it hasn't. This looks better. If you start whacking some EMAs on this, you start looking at this, and you go, well, we've had a series of higher lows coming up here, like consistently. Well, not this one, sorry. Like this here. And it looks pretty bullish, right? It looks like there is some demand under here. It's probably all Sailor, right? But fair play, I couldn't give a fuck if it's just Sailor. If Sailor pumps Bitcoin to $1 million, great. I've still got a stash of Bitcoins. Stick them all at $1 million. I'll fucking sell them all. So yeah, I'm kind of cautiously optimistic that this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th time attempting to break out into a trend to the upside is going to be it. I hope that we do get a bit of risk on back in crypto, bring some life back to Twitter, bring some life back to altcoin rotations and stuff. Like, this was a really good rotation. I was kind of too much playing Arc Raiders, to be honest, to be worried by it. But yeah, along some Filecoin. How do you look for which coins to long if Bitcoin picks up? So really, like, you want to be using Spaghetti, in my opinion. Well, not financial advice, right? I like using Spaghetti for it. I like saying, well, what's been really strong? And what of all this stuff has decent setups, yeah? So, like, Kaito is pretty illiquid. I'm probably not going to trade that on purpose. I've tried doing that before, and it's a bit messy. Like, if I look at... So you want a combination of relative strength, in play, has a narrative, and it's going to kind of keep attention basically. But then you also want something that has a setup. So if I look at Kaito, I'm just trying to find it as an example, because it's a strong coin and it's a chart I'm not familiar with particularly. So let's bosh it on here. So Kaito's had a wonderful day. It's been pretty much down only since launch with well, a few nice runs. Way back here is when we got a bullish cross on like the 12 hour. Again, bullish on the daily, etc, etc. Really, really nice. The big problem for me with a chart that looks like this is, how do I get involved in something that's pretty much up only? I'm terrible at trading it when it looks like this. If this was something a bit more like this, and actually, let's just pretend that was a high, that was a high, that was a high, and we had a load of higher lows running into it, I'm much better at taking along either here or here and just doing something like this, right? Oh, that's a short. Well done, Charlie. Something like this, I'm running it up and doing that. But like here, how the fuck do I long this? How the fuck do I get involved in that? Even something like this, right? Which is, you've got a consolidation here. You've got a range to play. Let's look at that. Obviously not that side of it, but you've got this range, you've got a sell-off, you've got the reclaim, you've got a push above. Sorry, I'm going to make it a bit nicer. My autism's like firing off. As soon as we start breaking out, like massively, you've got something that looks a bit more like this. And yeah, you're probably not going to get an entry until like here, and you're targeting those highs, yeah? So if we were back here and we started seeing relative strength like from this sell-off and this run-up, then that's decent. We've got a setup, we've got a price action setup, we've got something that we can do. When you've got the two things together, and then the reason that you would hold this for longer is that you've got these simple EMAs that aren't even being tagged. There is no reason, if you were in this trade, to close it. No reason at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, you haven't even tagged these EMAs, so you'd still be holding it at this point. Like, until we come back in here somewhere and actually either cross them or do something to warrant, the chart showing any sign of weakness, there's just no point in closing it. So, I mean, that's kind of a live example. I've obviously not taken, it's not a live example, but that's a live example of the thought process that I'd go through. And what I'm normally doing, what I do at the start of the week in Paragon every single week, is I do an outlook with plans. I have coins that I'm looking at. I have, charts that I'm waiting on triggers for. I've got various things that I'm hoping play out, and some do, some don't. Some go really well, some do not. MYX being a good example, where we were talking about this. A little meme triangle, a little trend following pattern. Now it's a pretty illiquid shitcoin, but obviously I'm still in it from back then, which I think is, I pretty much screenshot it at the top. But it's classic, isn't it? You take a screenshot, it's pretty much the top. Whatever that is. Actually, we did this last week on stream, didn't we? We did this one last week on stream, and that was 38% of the highs, pretty decent. And we literally went over how and why we're playing that in terms of the reclaim, in terms of the relative strength, in terms of all of it. So if you want to see that, then go check out last week's stream, which is something I don't often sort of say. But I think it was good. Wow, it's flying. Yeah. I mean, Kaito, it is quite a liquid though, so But this tells you, it doesn't tell you that it's a liquid, but it tells you what you should be looking at. And I can see on my right hand side of my screen that my Filecoin PNL is looking a little bit extra healthy, because it's printing a little bit of a breakout candle, which is nice. Hopefully this runs and we get a nice bit of a trending move on it. We'll see. But again, one of the reasons that I wanted to long Filecoin is because it's been consolidating in a very high time frame range for a little while. This is quite a pivotal area for Filecoin in general. So these lows, capped, flip support, resistance, failed breakout, resistance, not quite tagged resistance, but close enough. And then, you know, failed breakout, and now we're consolidating at the underside of this support resistance. Like, whilst the market's got a catalyst to potentially, you know, leap higher with Bitcoin hovering around that 94, yeah, it just kind of lines up, and it's still one of the strongest assets, right? And it has been okay on rotation. It's been okay, it hasn't been great. It's been okay. Keep certain coins on my radar every week. Yep, exactly. Then look at their pattern and either short or long. Yes, exactly. I've normally got plans ahead of time, and then triggers to execute when they do occur. So, you know, it's not like I'm waking up and going, all right, let's flick through the charts and go, oh, when do I long useless? Oh, when do I long this? When do I, you know, do all that? I know, like, I look at this, not every day, but I look at these charts most days, and I loosely know, you know, the Monero retest that we talked about. It's probably the biggest whiff of 2026, because yeah, that was nice in terms of the move that happened after. But you know, I've always got pretty much all of these, at least these charts, kind of engraved on my brain. You know, when I was talking about Zcash, now that's yeah, my first trade, or my last trade of 2026 was a Zcash short, which was, you know, up here somewhere, wasn't it? And it just absolutely fucking caned it because the team abandoned the project or whatever. It's just hilarious. Yeah, does that all make sense? Like, that's how I build trading plans. That's how I look at things. You know, like shit like Monad. I think we talked about Monad and said I think it's a fucking trash coin. I don't see any reasons to long it, but there's plenty of triggers if you want some on any kind of dog shit. I just think that you know, there's lots of coins that could run, have nice charts, have nice structure. You know, Pepe as an example. But why is Pepe gonna run? I just think it's so out of scope. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, not out of scope, out of the mind share of the bulk of CT. Evening Charles, up the mags, bonjour Mark Toes, bonjour. Yeah, Monad's bad. I mean, you know, team have obviously launched $1 billion company, blah blah blah, really happy for them and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't think we need another layer 2 or layer 1 or what the fuck it is. Yeah, just don't need another blockchain. Same as we don't need another perp deck. Same as we don't need another, like, there's just, you know, whenever I see, oh, a new ETF has been filed for Doge, it's like, oh, fucking brilliant, because we needed somewhere to trade, or, oh, X is listed on Y. It's like, yeah, that's the problem, is that people can't buy these assets. That is the exact problem. You know, maybe 5 years ago that was the problem, and actually access to crypto markets was so restricted, and you did have to have a bit of technical know-how about you. You know, it was quite difficult, and when you were anyone who used, like, what was it, like Ether Delta and stuff like that, like, it was a pain in the ass the first time you load that up and you go, what the fuck, I've just sent 10 grand to some fucking wallet, like, is this gonna work? Like, but yeah, now it's just like, log in with Binance, like, click this, buy that, sell that, job done, easy as peas. Dude, Pepe is the most popular image macro on the internet. You can't just say it's over. No, I get that. And I love Pepe, right? My phone is probably full of more Pepes than pictures of my wife and child. Like, it is, you know, it is pretty epic. I absolutely love Pepe. It's just, you know, it's had its moment in the sun, I think, in terms of, you know, I don't see it on the timeline basically ever anymore. But it's a really simple setup in terms of this, right? And I talked about this in my Outlook as well. I didn't take the trade myself. Take more photos of your family. No. But you get my point, right? It's like, my phone is like 90% memes. You don't need to see it on your timeline. We're here long before the redact's on your timeline to post it. Yeah, well, hopefully we're getting some risk on. I mean, look at this move. This is nice now. You know, really nice. This is kind of like where we lock in I think I'm stopped on my Bitcoin short now. Rip. I think that's it. I mean, again, from a simple PA perspective, it looks pretty good, right? We just don't want to see it do something like this, fuck everyone over, and then do that. Absolutely rinse people again. But yeah, we can hope. Sacco bubble. Also do the Binance Litecoin. The what? The Binance Litecoin? What? This is some trench bullshit, isn't it? That I'm not au fait with. I'm still in a position on this, bizarrely. But it was from like an intraday pissing around with not a lot of money. And it is something like that. But can't really flex it if I didn't post the trade. Pump Fun is the other one that I wanted to kind of cover, and actually say that from a high time frame macro perspective, it does look really good. If I was long this, I'd be holding it for quite some time. Just because I think if they do, they aren't coming back and stuff, if they do start smashing some money into the market and really trying to push Pump Fun, flipping this level and running it up a bit is going to be golden. It's going to be glorious, and we are on the precipice of shifting into the next leg of the market in a really bullish sense. And I saw someone tag me in a tweet earlier that was like, "Oh, wasn't Charlie bearish 3 weeks ago? Oh, you can't be bearish and then be bullish." So you can literally change your bias as price action develops. That's what being a trader is. And also, I was bearish at whatever it was, the 8th of October when I fucking sold everything. So yeah, it's one of those. And then I ran an account up 250% in 2 months. Longing only in a downtrend. Lamau. Imagine. It was listed on Binance. You should do it. Do what, my brother? We're doing Binance Life. What the fuck is this? Baron Chagall. Okay. I mean, it looks like... It does look like it's gonna fucking pop off, I'm not gonna lie. That looks insane. I won't ever call something a free long, but... Like, we were just talking about bullish structures and stuff. Like, look at that. Looks mental. Looks pretty wild, boys. Let's see how it fares on the old Biscotti. Is it that? No, it's this one. Yeah, it's pretty fucking strong as well. Good shout, brother, good shout. I love it when the chat gives me coins to go and trade. That's fucking insane. Yeah, good strength. Decent structure. Everything kind of works. Yay. Alright, Charlie added a coin that I'm interested in. I might long it. Yeah, I might do. Might do. There's no promises. It's probably a little bit late in this general rotation, but yeah, look, we're going for it now. Daddy Bitcoin is running. Sorry. Charlie, should I join Paragons? What, as an analyst? Yeah, sure, mate. Should you join Paragon? It's a good question. And I didn't pay you to say it. It's one of those things where some people really like learning by themselves, some people like having a ton of videos, some people like being able to just ask questions, get them answered, and share in a community of people who trade every day, or maybe not every day because I don't do weekends, but they trade, most days. There's always some conversation going on about something. I've got a ton of videos, I've got indicators, I've got various bits and pieces that you can, just learn from. And on boring days when you're not trading, there's plenty of things you could be learning or doing. There's loads. There's thousands of hours of content in there. If you want to learn anything about market profile or order flow or any of the stuff that like Magus teaches, like doc systems are a bit more simple, but they are kind of a combination of simple EMAs, market structure, and now low time frame is doing a lot of the kind of stuff that is a bit more order flow focused, I believe. Whereas I do a lot of alt rotations, and I do a bit of high time frame swings these days, but nowhere near as much as I used to. It's mostly like low time frame rotations. But it's entirely up to you. I'm not gonna ram anything down your throats because you're all grown ass people, or probably grown ass people. But yeah, I think what we've built over the last 3 years, there's been no negative, what reviews or anything like that. Everyone has only ever had great things to say about us. And yeah, I need to work on my shiller a little bit because I'm obviously not a very good shiller. But yeah, I'm proud of what we built. In terms of next trades, like Pump looks amazing. I wish I'd not overthought it and actually just smashed it this morning when I saw it. There's not really much else that I'm really massively interested in longing. I think a lot of stuff is either WLFI doesn't look too bad actually in terms of something that's got a pretty clear invalidation. I think a lot of stuff is just on the precipice of absolutely sending. If we get that breakout and continuation on Bitcoin. So Hype's a really good one. Right, so have a look at Hype. Normally I don't like diddling in the middle on Hype, right? But I will make an exception for Hype. So if we get, bearing in mind, we've had a really strong downtrend, we've had an attempt to breaking through, we're gonna have another one, and if we do something like this, then maybe that's the trigger on Hype. So hopefully you guys see what I've done now, is I've set myself up for another trade, and all I'll do here is I'll stick a little line across there, wash an alert on there, and now I can completely forget about the Hype chart, right? As soon as I log into TradingView tomorrow morning, there will or won't be a tag on it, it'll put it back to the top of my radar, I can bosh it up into here, job done. Asta's a piece of shit. Trump. How does Trump look good? Again, a lot of stuff looks ready for a continuation long, right? I'm not going to long Trump, but you can hopefully see just looking at this, this is a pretty clean range. And if the market does continue sending, now we've tagged 94, which I think is, supposedly everyone on crypto Twitter's buy zone. You'll get a breakout and you'll get that. What we've had is a run up, a little consolidation, and then a run up for the next leg, the classic giraffe pattern, right? Simple as that. I like that other people and find people who are no lifers like me. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is when you're online all day, every day, it can get a bit lonely. Been in the group since April, and it's 1,000%, or 1,000,000% worth it. If you plan on trading seriously. Yeah. I wouldn't go on to nobody, mate. Pump too far gone? I think Pump is you play it on a retest, so you let it break out and then retest, and then that's where you look at it. That's Pump for me. Appreciate more on shills than brainwash shills. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to ram it down anyone's throat. We've got some great trades in there. I've also given losing trades, right? I think I bought spot Bitcoin in the group at like 110k, and sold it at 107 or something. I can't remember the exact numbers. Don't quote them at me, but you know, I do take losing trades in there. But more often than not, well, actually, no, I don't know about that. What's my win rate? My win rate's between 40 and 60%, depending on conditions. So, yeah. I mean, I've gone over pump, mate. If you want to see it, just rewind it. Link and ICP. Yeah. I think the thing with, like, Link and ICP and stuff is that they're really, like, old coins. Now, Link doesn't look too bad in terms of like high time frame structure, in terms of this massive support across here, resistance, yeah. And we obviously must have talked about this before because it's got doodles on it. And again, this is like we've got downtrend, we've got reaccumulation, we've got hopefully leg up, right? And you know, next leg of the market. Which, again, like I've said, we're kind of set up for, I feel like, on BTC, if it starts running from here. Now, the problem I got with Link is, from a setups perspective, a little bit more difficult. Not as much relative strength. You know, where do I go with this? Do I try and do something like quite aggressive, like here? In which case, my stops are like down here, and really, you know, taking these highs is going to be quite a push, I'd say, for Link. You know, I'm not convinced there's going to be a huge Link run, so to speak. But you know, you are essentially saying you don't want it to come back in here, and like that's a 2-hour trade on something that I don't think has got major relative strength or any major catalysts for Link to be like the one where all eyes move to. And that's what I struggle with, right? That's why I use Spaghetti, is because Spaghetti gives me a reason to say, these coins are hot, these coins are being traded, these coins are being massively bought up, these coins are strong compared to the rest of the market. Because, you know, we're now in that era where there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of coins, right? And realistically, only a small handful of them are going to massively outperform Bitcoin. So if it's not on here and massively outperforming Bitcoin, then it's really not worth trying to focus on it, in my opinion. Again, you know, all my opinion, all just my thought process. High time frame, it does look great. It is sat on high time frame support, but still, I just don't see why it would run over anything else. And the same is probably going to be true of ICP without looking at it. Copy trading, Mangostock and Charlie isn't even the value prop. Yeah, you know, we don't do the at everyone buy this now shite. You know, I will share my trade plans, I will share my triggers, I will typically share when I enter. Some trades I do take by myself because they're boredom trades, or they're like me just playing with scams like Jelly. But my decent sized trades I almost always put in the group. Internet Computer Protocol, yeah, I mean, like, again, we'll start off with the weekly, because I know the weekly is horrendous. You know, this is what we're trading, yeah? Launched at like $1 bajillion. We go into the weekly, and we zoom in a little bit. You know, we had a couple of runs, that classic bouncing ball of altcoin momentum. You know, maybe we get another run, something like this. But similar points to Link, it's why this over anything else. Really nice move. That's the downtrend, that's the range, that's the reclaim, that's the breakout, that's really strong. That was maybe the bulk of the move, and if it wasn't, you know, how do you get on board this when it's parabolic run up and then sold off massively, and then I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Sorry about that. Yeah, like this is just really difficult for me to jump on board, right? If you wanted to jump on board, it would have been down here. It would have been, you know, sort of drawing this as a squiffy range and saying, you know, this is the high time frame support. We don't want it to come back down here, and yeah, back into this consolidation essentially. And that's played out. That's gone. That's come. It's gone. It's just, yeah. If you get a consolidation here, and you get something like this, and then you can long there, or you play the breakout at the highs, you know, assuming that there's relative strength on low time frame, you know, you can rock it. But aside from that, I can't really trade it after a big parabolic run, because that is literally a parabola, right? That is a parabola there. If you call that, well played. You know, really good catch, but quite difficult IMO. Even like stuff like Doge. I mean, Doge is just absolutely fucked, isn't it? And, you know, I've said it for a long time that I think the next leg of the market is actually going to be Bitcoin focused. I think if we are not in a true crypto bear market, like if it's not dead, right, then everyone just floods back to Bitcoin because they are tired of the relentless on-chain and altcoin scams, right? And everyone will just plop their cash back into Daddy Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance won't drop, as all the alt season retards keep saying. It will fucking send. But maybe that's just hope, because I'm more exposed to Bitcoin than anything else. Bastian entry bought the circle you highlighted. Legend. You looked at OneCoin? I did look at OneCoin actually. I did. Oh. Let's have a look. The thing that put me off OneCoin is kind of this. You know, quite a few clusters of big chunks of supply. It's at what, 17 million market cap. It's not exactly quote unquote early. It's yeah. I'm not saying it won't run. I think it probably will run. I think it probably do alright. But yeah, it seems a bit meh. Seems a bit like I will be farmed. But yeah, down with Miss Paragon, Bitcoin Charlie's, Alex and Doc's Magus style wasn't my style, but also good to see. Yeah, and that's fair. Like, and I completely get that, because some people joined the group and they're like, Charlie, I don't know how you trade like that. You are the most autistic motherfucking retard I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, cool, thanks, man. You know, yeah, I get it. It's not for everyone, right? Trading altcoins, full stop. You know, with not huge amounts of capital compared to like what I size it, what I'm comfortable to size into Bitcoin with, right? Because you can't fill like millions of dollars on something like Jelly, right? You physically cannot do it. Whereas Bitcoin, obviously, you can pretty much get whatever size you want. So my $10 doesn't slip the books. But yeah, I think this is the time to lock in, to be blunt. This is the time to be paying attention. And this is, you know, if this is the breakout, this is where I think it's maximum EV to be long, and to be long on things that have got real clear invalidation, like Fartcoin, which is why I am long it. I am quite happy to be wrong on this. You know, if it comes back and reverses, really not a problem. I'd lose a trade, doesn't fucking matter. Pump was the kind of easier one, I think, in terms of it was very good earlier today, but equally, it's quite difficult in terms of like how you trade this from a structure perspective, other than just buying spot and waiting for it to lose like a VWAP or EMAs or something like that, right? That's the only way that I think you can really jump on board this kind of fucking real choppy. You know it's going up and to the right, but it is doing this on the way and absolutely ripping people. For Bitcoin then, similar thesis, just long here. This is, you know, late to this rotation, so could very well round trip. And if we don't start seeing, you know, as we start tagging these highs, if we don't start seeing that acceleration, then it's going to be pretty painful. And we're going to be back in the range, and then alts are probably going to bleed, etc. I've got very little interest in ETH, to be blunt. But again, ETH can be a nice little lagging trade if we really think of this PA down here as a range. You know, and ETH starts moving, and ETH BTC gets a little bit more spicy. You know, we start seeing a little bit of strength, because like if you look at it today, it's pretty much still in the downtrend. Can't get any strength. Again, another reason why I think BTC is, you know, gonna be the goat of the next leg, if there is a next leg up. Yeah, that's kind of it for me. Solana, again, I've talked about this for a while. You know, you could have played the kind of wider swing long in here and said, okay, well, my stop's clearly under here, but I personally don't like it. You know, I get, what, a 3-hour trade out of that. Whereas if I can be aggressive on breakouts and reclaims, essentially, I can get like a 14-hour trade. So I can size much bigger into this, and I can hopefully capture a decent move. And obviously we've got some support resistance on like higher time frame. With this, these former highs up here, pretty clean in terms of pivotal areas, and yeah, very high on my radar. How's the 0 to 1 mil going? I haven't even started, to be honest. But yeah, I should start that, shouldn't I? Imagine I actually do it, and then everyone is, you know, can you tell me what you think of your thesis? What thesis, my brother? Again, my thesis is that XMR pump will make Dino rotations come back to life, like it did when ZEC pump. Privacy garbage already pumped Dino coin should be next. Yeah, it's not a bad thesis. The way that you test that thesis is you stick them on spaghetti, right? Stick them on here, see how they're performing against everything. I mean, you have got some Dino coins in here like Nia, you've got TRB, you've got a few, you know, old Dino coins on this rotation, so, you know, it's not a bad thesis. In fact, baby. Ah, well, we didn't have a boomer category, did we? Rip. Yeah, we didn't have a boomer category. What the fuck is that? Yeah, I went all in on this earlier today. Just didn't post it anywhere, boys. Just rats USDT. Yeah, all about the rats USDT, boys. $1 billion in rats. Whereas ICP and Link on Spaghetti, they're not on my Spaghetti, mate, so I don't particularly want to trade them. But if you do, then stick them on there, and then have a look at what's moving and what's running. You know, we got Bonk, we got ZEC, we got Fartcoin, which is nice. Nice to see my long up there. You know, on this little low time frame rotation. Now, bear in mind, this is a 15-second chart, right? It's 15 seconds. Like, let's not lose it. Right, so I think that's pretty clear. Hopefully I've given you guys some trade plans, I've given you some thought processes. Sol is probably the next runner, so if you want to, look at wanted to look at something else, then Sol looks really fucking good for the next leg. Bitcoin is actually running. I've punted a bit in this. My short got fucked. I'm now broke. I'm long in range highs like a pleb. And the same with Fartcoin. So Fartcoin I'm long. Realistically, I'm probably gonna move this up and do something like this and not like take a full loss on this if we do if momentum doesn't hold. So I'll probably stay up a little bit later tonight to watch how this PA develops. But like looking at it right now, it's definitely got a nice bit of momentum on it. And hopefully it just continues through. But if we do get some real fucking dog shit, sell off, then yeah, the whole market gets faked out again. I did the pop and spaghetti on ICP. Stop boomer coin, link less strong, but I think it'll catch on. Yeah, it's fair, man. Full ported it, made 10 mil, so hopefully you got to tell me. Yeah, well done, mate. I'm just proud. Proud of the students, do you know what I mean? Outperforming the teachers. That's what you love to see. Charlie, someone wants to play CSGO with you. I actually want to play Arc Raiders, but yeah, I've been pretty much playing Arc Raiders a lot whilst aping Fartcoin. And then he even messaged me and was like, your Fartcoin long's doing well. I was like, I know, I can see it, mate. I can see this number go up on the side of my screen. It's quite good. When people think it's dead, it's only half dead. Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, cheers, Static Liquid. Good to see you, buddy. Are you on my Outrage stream? Yeah, ledge. Yeah, when people think it's dead, it kind of has a way of just coming back to life. And, I do think a lot of alts are dead and will remain dead. That doesn't mean you can't catch 40 to 50% moves on sentiment shifts, because 1 minute Fartcoin is the stupidest thing ever, and of course it should be 0. And then the next thing, oh, this is the most hilarious coin ever. Imagine it goes to the same market cap as like Coca-Cola. Like, hilarious. All the internet degenerates are making millions off something called Fartcoin. Brilliant. Oh yeah, it was your birthday. You told me. You did. But yeah, has anyone got any questions or anything? Or should we just leave it there? It's been an hour. I think we've covered a lot of plans. Covered a lot of source. Don't be afraid to speak up. There's like 78 people in the chat. There's 6 likes. How rude. Oh, there's 21 likes. Thank you very much to everyone that's liked it. I do appreciate it. We should get you in the stock market. I know. Imagine you could trade me. Oh, you don't mean that, do you? You mean trading stocks. Oh, I know. Oh, anyone's fucking ripping. Let's go. I've staked what I've got left in my anyone bag. That would be nice if it ran up to here. Again, high time frame, big range, strong candle, reclaim. If the market really pushes from here, which I hope it does, right? For all our sakes, then yeah, lots of stuff like that is going to start looking good. Yeah, so I'll probably be staying up tonight a little bit later, playing Arc Raiders and monitoring the old situ. To Rocket Labs and Iron? What the fuck? Rocket Lab Corp. Jesus Christ. I mean, Yeah, I ain't fucking touching that. Again, like, there's hardly any places where I would have, like, looked for trades. Like here, like breakouts down here. Potentially this is a range, either a reclaim there or breakout there. But yeah, it's fucking mental, brev. Yeah, I don't know what you want to say about that, to be honest. Apart from if you caught it, fair play. And I ran. I almost automatically just want to put USDT on the end of it. So that's a bit different. So, you know, that's actually quite nice from like a... You know, if I had a thesis to go with it, I could justify that. So when you're looking at like a three-day chart, parabola into kind of a lower high, it's technically equal, but we'll just ignore that. You know, that's a really strong move, followed by a pullback. You know, if you are trending on a high time frame perspective, you've got the reset on the weekly RSI down here. You've got a really nice bullish, whatever hammer candle it is there. And that one, which kind of denotes a bottom. And then you've got, you know, strong moves afterwards, bit of consolidation, or sorry, running through the former consolidation with strength. Yeah, that's pretty tasty. Pretty tasty. Yeah, so you've got a good reason to like long and hold this, if that makes sense, because this looks like it just trends. And it looks like typically it's trended until it got this divergence across the highs, pulled back a bit, and then goes for the next, you know, round two. So yeah, RKLB, I've got no fucking idea how I'd jump in on that. But Iron looks pretty decent. And sorry, they both look different, but yeah. Where would I long useless? I think I'm gonna do this one and then go, and then instead of, I think we've done enough stocks. And my boys are waiting for me. Where would I look long useless? I mean, the idea was there previously. Yeah, we're on a 4-hour chart. This is kind of the range and the reclaim, like locally. You could play a breakout trade here, so ignoring these former areas, right? You're looking at this. Oh, well, I've got a Fibonacci tool. The problem with useless is it's so fucking illiquid that if you smash 100k into it, you just like rape the book. You know, normally I'd be looking for something like this, and you'd probably get an entry like up here somewhere as a continuation play, or the range reclaim like down here. But realistically, that would have been really hard to justify the position, because you're still in technically a downtrend, right? So that would have been a bit early, because your structure is shite. So really the only choice you've got is to play something like this, but we're quite late in this rotation, I think. You know, we're kind of relying on Bitcoin to keep running, and it's not going at 100 miles an hour, right? It's going pretty well, but it's not going super fast, and it's a bit of a bitch to trade. You know, it's very different when we were doing it way back down here, and we talked about this consolidation, and we talked about this high across here, and we talked about longing this, because I remember us talking about it. Yeah, you've essentially got something like this, which is really easy. Yeah, I think I only went up to like here. This is a little bit more, you know, you've got a physical bottom. That's like an all-time low, at least on exchanges for useless. So, you know, that's much easier to justify than this. But equally, useless has been pretty strong, so it's up there with Filecoin. So it's not a bad one to look at. We've covered WLFI and range reclaim on CC. We looked at WLFI. I'll just flick back to it. Actually, I said that this would look pretty good for the continuation, because we broke out that massive range, right? Huge strength on that push. I wouldn't be surprised to see if that plays out, and then CC will cover off. Again, we talked about this before. This is now a range. You basically don't want it to come back into this consolidation properly, which it's already done. So I just wouldn't be touching this. You know, it was a great trade that someone in the group actually put out for all of us. And again, that's what I mean. It's like it's not just me, Magus, and Doc that stick trades out there. I can never remember the guy's name. It's really fucking rude of me. Really fucking rude of me. But he absolutely printed on this. Did like 100%. Was a banger. But yeah, on that bombshell, boys and girls, I think we've covered off so much. Yeah, the playlist is banging, isn't it? I'll stick the playlist in the group. In the chat. I think it's been a pretty good stream. Got a lot of long setups, a lot of invalidations, a lot of simple trend continuation plays, thought processes around different coins. Some triggers on things like hype, which I think will be, you know, a bit of a lagger in terms of the general market, but you know, should be good. I kind of could be tempted to grab some Trump, but yeah. And similarly with like useless, I think that this is, you know, run up, consolidate, run up again. Like I do think that sentiment can be shifting. If we can hold and close above 94 today, then it's going to be time to lock in for a couple of weeks. But if it doesn't, and if we just literally break out or fail to break out, and then, you know, we die here, then it's going to be pretty fucking painful again. And sentiment will only get worse. But thank you all for being here. Shout out once again to Breakout. If you want to treat yourself to a evaluation and, you know, a funded account, once you pass that evaluation up to $200,000 actually, so there's one over here, then you can sign up using code Charlie, and it's breakoutprop.com. So yes, I will love you, I will leave you, I will see you on Twitter, and I will see you on the stream next week. Au revoir, my friends.